and welcome to Soundpaint. My name is Troels, and welcome to the 1984 Fire Trumpet. The Fire Trumpet is a rhythmic trumpet, if you will. Like, we can think of trumpets in the classical domain, a very orderly and proper trumpet player. And then we can think of the trumpet more in the sense of jazz and rhythmic music, Latin music, pop, with a very sort of unique shine to it. This particular trumpet is from 1984. It was played with a headpiece slightly smaller than your average sort of classical trumpet. And because of that, you get a sharper sound in the fire trumpet as well. So together with our fire saxophone and our fire trombone, we also have the fire trumpet here. It's a trilogy in Soundpaint. They're all designed to be used together with that sort of rhythmic motion in mind, if you will. But more importantly, this trumpet here is being powered by our H.A.L technology. H.A.L stands for hyper-acoustic legato, and it means I can play complete polyphonic legato on the keys, and in addition have 127 velocity layers of morph shading. That's a more modern way of doing crossfading on every single key, so polyphonic legato with full dynamic control on the mod wheel as well. We're gonna have some fun. Luckily, I'm not gonna be playing the keys. The super talented and majestic Nicholas Semrat is gonna take over, jam with the trumpet. We might talk a little bit here. We thought it could be interesting just to have a sort of conversational type of video and then just have fun, you know? So hope you're gonna join us on the 1984 Fire Trumpet.
I call this one Underpass solo because it sounds like you're like in like Chicago under like a highway.
Oh.
Sounds like an old like noir movie.
Yeah.
That thing sounds rad.
That's so sweet, man.
It's funny with an articulation like that because they're really more designed for production. All these ornaments is like that's the one time you need your crescendo, right?
Yeah.
But to hear you play like the ultimate crescendo composition, imagine someone mad enough to write that as a piece of music.
I love it. Oh yeah, I forgot there was like a couple that I added.
Oh, sweet man. Was that a legato with monophonic?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better that way. You know, that's really what they were designed to do. The polyphony is wild and crazy, but
I think it depends on the pen. I mean, like some of those dreamy Android ones where it's so big that it kind of only works if the pitch stuff is like really direct, and it's just certain situations where the verb kind of messes it up. And I think, yeah, monophonic is.
crazy harmonics going on.
I love it. Yeah, the Bit Crush kit, it catches like just every now and then.
Ah, there's Bit Crush on it. This is like challenge. Play Ornaments.
Here's my art for this one. It's like a marching band hit.
That's what they're designed. That's the perfect application, man.
Super big cheeks.
That's so sweet. That's a hard articulation to actually play something with. Wow.
I was trying to find one where it's like, does it catch the... Okay, the first note's stable.
I just think it's amazing how I almost feel like I'm punishing you deliberately by forcing all these
super hard to play
No.
articulations on you.
I think there's power in limitation. I think having like, no, here's your note, but it also does these things. Like, all right, how do I make a song with that? Oh, you are polyphonic. I've been playing this monophonic the whole time. It still sounded good though. Like, damn, that hit 2 notes. Oh,
Well,
that's
the whole
amazing.
premise for the polyphonic is that you can play from monophonic, go into polyphony, go
Yeah.
back to mon. Like, but yeah,
It tricked me. I had to look over. I was like, oh. Yeah, I feel like I can actually write horn music now.
I wanted to ask you, because I was having the exact same thought. I was
Yeah.
like, what does it feel for you? Like, we talked about emulating guitars and all these. You're a pianist and a keyboard player at heart.
Mm-hmm.
What goes through your mind when you're playing an instrument like this on the keyboard?
Selfishly, it makes me think like I can make more money. But the second part, I mean, it's just cool to be able to hear like how would a group of humans sound like playing this thing? You know, because I think there's something in the legato movements where it's like you can have 3 and 4 notes, but there'll be like a separate interaction between these 2 notes. So it sounds like there's different people happening. And I think sometimes that's a tough thing to like emulate. You know, if you're arranging music or whatever, because we've all written something and then we get into a room with a bunch of people playing in it. It's like, oh, that's not it. It sounds different when different people are playing, but I think having this kind of thing, you know, allows you to at least like get a subtle understanding of like what might work in a room with other humans.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's cool for arranging and also just to be able to not need other humans sometimes, you know.
I don't know. I can't put words to this, but I feel that you're feeling what that player played like, and you're sort of moving to his vibrato, the length. His sort of. Is that correct?
Well, it allows for that thing where you're like, again, you're actually interacting with what's happening. I feel like there's a lot of players will say, "Oh, I'm interacting with the instrument." And it's like, well, sort of. Like most people who are saying that mean that they're causing something to happen, and it's like I think with sounds like this, it's like there's a dialogue of like, okay, here's the thing I was putting forward. And then you did your version of that, which is still my thing, but it's like it's coming out in, you know, different articulations or different dynamics, and then I can go, okay, cool, that's what you're doing. Okay, now let me do this. Like there's more dialogue there, which is interesting. Like even there, it's like you hear one of the notes kind of like grace note into it, and the other ones didn't, and I'll respond to that. You know, like I'm gonna hear that and go like, oh, okay, cool, that player's doing that. There now, okay, now two of them did, you know, like, and you kind of just you play different when stuff like that happens. It's not the same thing every time, you know, which is really rad.
I was also thinking like how wild for one soul to play another soul's performance. We may think of it as an instrument, but you're also playing a human being.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Like 3 trumpet players in a fairy cave.
We've learned with sampling over time, if you used offset on that one and you nailed just that last note, it's a different kind of attack. The da da da. So sometimes you can find like melodic component in the phrases that you can't get otherwise.
That sounds like a synth.
Very much so. I mean, they are oscillators, I guess, to all these instruments in there.
Yeah.
Did you have time on the mod wheel?
Yeah.
That's so sweet, man. So as you gradually go through, it actually becomes longer. That's so sweet, man.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Wow. using that on top of some of the phrases. You know how they go stiff because there's no round robin in them?
Mm-hmm.
You use that one on top of it as the attack of any given phrase. You'll get the natural variation and then the phrase.
Oh, yeah.
In all honesty, we were still learning because like we were inventing this shit. It's like, oh.
Like,
that's so
you
cool.
can actually do that,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's like same vibe, but very old school.
It's weird, man. Like the effect is almost better than the instrument. Is that a chorus?
What am I doing? It's verb, but the mix is weird, and I think there's something. What else is happening?
Oh, you're pitch shifting the verb, so it's the plate verb.
Yes. Yeah. Something else going on. Oh, mod matrix. It's delay. The LFO is just on the wet dry of the verb, but for whatever reason the verb, like the plate, like changes the pitch just a little bit, and so when it comes in and out, it seems like vibrato almost.
Got it. I love that.
I love these, like the sustain, like all the sustain stuff in the Fire libraries, like with the haunted effect or whatever, have this really interesting, because they catch like the kind of the whiny part of the note, but that keeps this part like big.
Yeah, it's almost like a wah pedal, isn't it?
That'll go. That thing will go. Snuck the last two chords.
That's a good patch.
Yeah, these like the sustain. This thing, like really is huge with like these big verbs. It really like catches it really well.
Back in the day, we used to use crossfading for that, and there's a variety of artifacts you get, like phasing artifacts.
Yeah.
So in the new version of the engine, we're using what's called morph shading. So you're morphing through the sustains, so they don't have any phase artifacts,
Nice.
and it makes it for me like more alive and organic when I move through. Like you could feel you can bloom and express more that way.
Yeah. I think I'm messing this one up too, where like the mod wheel's also bringing in the pitch shift just a little bit. And it's bringing in like with the verb, it makes it like.
I mean, who needs to see as 80 when you got that? That's like the ultimate Blade Runner sound right there.
I don't know.
There we go.
This is like after 1 a.m. at the bar. I call this one Underpass solo because it sounds like you're like in like Chicago under like a highway.
Oh.
Sounds like an old like noir movie.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing sounds rad.
That's so sweet, man.